We're going to talk to our friend Brian Christopherson from Husker247 here. I think DB might have a leading question here. What's going on,
I'm
BC?
not going to do it to my man, B Sizzle.
Yeah.
Hi,
What do
Brian.
you got?
Are you okay? This is a black couch moment, so you can totally be the shrink. But there were a couple people who wanted to give me a hard time about my initial hot takes on Bryce Underwood. Because for a handful of weeks, I've been saying Bryce Underwood is not really a dual threat quarterback. He's never been labeled a dual threat quarterback. He doesn't really want to run this whole nine, right? So then all of a sudden, under my man, the Biffster, Pogiati, he is like running the ball, and we got QB run games. So in the stream yesterday, I was getting my wrist slapped, anecdotally, of course, just folks being sarcastic about, oh, really? I thought he wasn't a running quarterback. And I said, you got to watch how he actually moved the ball. I'll take me in terms of his breakdown. So Ravi is hysterically laughing, goading me into taking a victory lap because Coach Butler, who's significantly smarter than me, reiterated the exact same thing that I've been saying. So I kind of feel validated outside of the numbers that I saw Bryce Underwood put up yet this weekend. That's what Robbie's talking about. So what say you, BC?
I would say that you should feel validated
Let's
because what was it? 9 rushes, and John Butler said 2 were designed that he saw, 7 he counted as scrambles, freelance plays. I had not watched the game early in the week.
Nor had anybody else that was chastising me, BC. I said, watch the game. Take me.
I think the analytics had it at 6.
Oh, he was off one.
So I'm just for clarity's sake. But the point stands.
Hey, we're tense this week, BC. It's Michigan week.
The point still stands.
Fight.
Much like it was against Sorsby, there was not a lot of
Indian and non-white.
There's a lot of non-designed QB run, I think was the point.
Right. Well, I suppose the challenge still remains of, like, you have to have good lane discipline and, cage in your rushes, knowing that he does have the capability to make a play when it breaks down. But, I would say you were vindicated on that one, that he's not by label a dual threat guy. He's more of a
Uh-oh. You there?
I think John Butler. Yeah, can you hear me? I'm
sorry.
Yep,
there you go.
No, I think I'll just cut it off with that one. I think you were kind of proven right by John Butler there.
BC, let me ask you something on a lighter note. Ravi brought something up that I did not think about when I accost you every Saturday. Is that your downtime to get ready? And I'm being invasive.
No. I mean, what am I doing? I'm just sitting there.
I don't know. You seem approachable. That's what I think it is.
I feel like I am approachable, and I like to be approached by you. I always say, have a good call, Damon. I like to think that's like really. Yeah. I like to think that you take that as very meaningful. You're like, man, that meant a lot that guy gave me that encouragement just before I go to the mic. I'm going to have a good one just for him today. So yes,
that's kind of true. Because what's my response every week? I always say, hey man, appreciate that. Will do.
You always say, I'll do it for you, BC. You look me in the eye and you say, I'll do it for you. That's how I remembered it. I don't know. Maybe that's not right.
Oh shoot. Close enough.
Yeah, something like that. So
your colleagues, it's not that they don't want to see me. They just have the same routine every game, right? They're going down to get they got to do like the photog stuff.
Yeah, they're getting pictures of the recruits here on the sideline. They bring them out about the time you come over. So it's not intentional, at least not that I know of. No one has said that.
Shane coming back like, man, I'm glad I missed that damn DB. He gets on my nerves.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's intentional at all. Especially this week, I know they'll be down there early for a while because, man, it's going to be a sight down there.
Hey, so Coach Rhule said something about, he's like, hey, we're recruiting against Michigan and Alabama and Ohio State. Sometimes I think people kind of roll their eyes, but there is zero fear in bringing in recruits, some on repeats that have just been other places. With the Michigan game looming, it's not like they're saying to themselves, oh man, we can't bring any recruits in here. We might have a poor showing. You just get the sense, and maybe it's not necessarily a direct correlation of who they're bringing in, because the 2:30 time slot does help. But they are definitely embracing this weekend as a showcase.
Oh, no question about it. You know, I did an interview in the summer with a few guys who were passing through as sort of for that huddle event. And it was, you know, like Juju Johnson and DeVay Williams. And it was like 3 guys in a row. And I was thinking, like, all these guys are going to play in the NFL probably in a few years. And here they are in Lincoln in the summer. And of a good share of those guys are coming back now. And they liked the town then, those guys who were here for during that 7v7 tournament and the huddle event. But it's going to be a completely different animal. I don't even think they know what's about to hit them for this game and sort of the intensity that's going to surround the town on this weekend. So it's one thing to get them like that setup visit in the summer. I think it's very important. It lays the groundwork. You build the relationship sort of in the quiet time when it's a little bit more still. But then you kind of hit with that second punch that is very powerful now. Like, okay, this is, we told you maybe have figured out this is a football town and this place is all about it. Now you're going to see it for sure. And it's going to confirm it to you. So I do think it's a big deal, because there's a good amount of these guys that are repeat visitors. And that's why I've always said, you know, I know there were some worries about the last recruiting class's rankings. It was more just a numbers thing with how many they took. And if you look at how they're set up for 27, 28, even 29, I think Nebraska is further out in front than they've been in a while. And now if they coupled that with a win on Saturday, where does that take it? That's the thing.
BC, speaking of guys that Nebraska's targeting, I know that there were a couple UCLA commits that, especially on the D-line, Nebraska had been interested in, that had committed to UCLA and are no longer committed to UCLA. How much of a factor do you think Nebraska is going to try and get back into those situations?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's plenty of time to make hay with guys who have been committed elsewhere, and I think there's still guys who are going to tweak their decisions after their fall visits, and certainly there's going to be some programs where people are just going to bail because of the coaching situation and the program seems like it's rudderless. So there's no way you would say Nebraska wouldn't have a good chance with some of those guys. And I do think they've got a good footprint going or starting to build again with California in certain spots, and they can get some stuff done there. So no doubt there's like some programs where if a guy was committed there, I don't know that it means a whole lot at the moment.
BC, let me ask you something. If you're in Nebraska and you're looking at kind of your philosophy and how you've recruited and how you target guys, is it a fine line? Is it just you do what you do and let the results be what they may? Where I've always said this, it doesn't matter if they're going to recruit a certain style and if they win, they win. The evaluation is the evaluation is what I'm saying. How important do you think a particular game like this could be in the grand scheme of things, knowing that they are pretty consistent with how and who they target to begin with?
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things that they already have the relationships with a lot of these guys. They've already done their research with their staff on why you want to at least be this far along in the process with the recruit. And now I do think it's, you know, both sides are still filling each other out. You learn more about a prospect every time they're in town, and like if their style fits you and vice versa. But a game like this, you know, I think, well, first off, I would say Rhule would say that practices are still the best place for a recruit to come. I mean, he said this on the record, to come actually see coaches coach, to see what they're all about in that practice setting. So that's still like maybe the top thing as far as like the recruit getting a feel for like what a coach is like with his players and how he operates and how it would be sort of in the daily basis. But I do think there's something to be said for them now getting a look at sort of how the staff and how the roster is wired on a game day, and then just how this crowd and this team are married together. This is a fan base that is very close to its football team. You're going to see that on Saturday. Whenever there's a game of this magnitude, it really comes out. And so I think that's the thing that really hits home with a lot of guys. They're going to understand, like, I've heard in the summer it's like a pro team and this is the show in town. Yes, it is. I mean, it's just such a, like, if you haven't seen it up close, I do think it kind of blows guys' mind, like how much it is the pro squad in the state.
BC, let me ask you something. You're looking at Michigan offensively, and I've got a follow-up if Ravi will give me a little latitude here. You want to come out of this game with a victory. And I said this yesterday. I said, are you starting out with trying to seek justice, i.e. shut down the running game from the handoff standpoint, or you want to cut the head of the snake off with the quarterback? If you had to pick one and you want to read about a W the next day, where are you starting?
Man, that's a good question. It's a 1A, 1B kind of answer, right? I would say, I guess I would say the running backs, because that going in is still the thing I wonder. Michigan, I think, has proven to be the type of program that is willing to win a game. Like, go back to last year when they beat USC somehow, where they couldn't throw the ball at all. I mean, they had like it was like 1947 type offense, what they were running that day. And they still went 90 plus yards thanks to a long run, but on the game winning drive, just like pounding away all game long with base stuff in the run game and their running backs. And I think they're the type of program where they're not going to be afraid, even in this setting, to try to do that if they have to. And so this is the deal where, okay, I think this D-line has made some progress in the last few weeks, probably even more so behind the scenes than we realize on the day-to-day.
Well, look at the numbers played distribution since week one.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys have gotten some game experience that's helped, but I think the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all that stuff has been big in building up some of those D linemen. But there is still that curiosity. It's not pessimism about what the D line can do for Nebraska. It is a curiosity. Like, are they going to step up and meet this moment? And can you cut that run game off where early on we're not seeing the Michigan 1-2 backs getting 5 yards a pop, or it feels like a 2 or 3 yard run is turning into 5 or 6. So that's my answer. But I think your question, you could go the other way with it too. If you can get Underwood a little shaken early in this game, that could make all the difference as well.
Okay, so the follow-up to that is, and I asked this yesterday, if you're going to write a future headline and Nebraska wins, what coordinator or specifically assistant is in that follow-up lead paragraph?
I said, I kind of got asked this the other day, and I said John Butler won, and I'll stick with that. But you know how this is. I mean, these games can go any direction. Like, this could be the Saturday where we've talked all off season about Dana Holgerson having 8 months to work with Dylan Raiola. They're all on the same page. They have such a good understanding of each other. And maybe it's the game where that's the headline, that they're ready to roll in an atmosphere like this, and the pre-snap knowledge of Dylan and all that stuff just pays off. And so I've kind of gone back and forth. I think, though, I'll stick with my original answer that the defense is the group that I want to see meet the moment, that defensive line. And I want to see, as much as we talk about position groups where we wonder about them and if they're ready for it, I want to see the strength, which we've talked about being the secondary. I want to see them flex in this game. Like, let's see that. Like, this is a group that is confident on the back end. And if they play like that and play well against Michigan on the perimeter, that's going to open up a lot of stuff for Nebraska's D-line and also different pressures they want to bring at Underwood. So I think if we're talking about a W, it might start with John Butler having a really solid game plan and his guys just going out there and executing it as he hoped.
We're talking with Brian Christopherson, Husker247. BC, looking at the offensive side of the ball for Nebraska, I keep looking at the way Michigan kind of likes to play defense and bringing pressure and bringing extra guys. And I can't help but think that if that's what they want to do, that's advantage Dylan Raiola. Am I crazy?
Nope, I think you're right. I think it's a great opportunity if they do that for Dylan to show how well he's seeing it. Now, obviously, we've got to back it up, but I buy into the idea that I don't care about the competition. I think he's playing at a really high level and he's seeing the game really well right now. And so he's the type of quarterback that I think you want in this type of chess match. And if they're going to do that, there is going to be that opportunity to burn him on it. And I think he's got the receivers that have upgraded a little bit this year to do that. I like also guys that through the first 3 games that ball's been distributed around so much. Like everybody's kind of at the receiver position had their moment early on in this season to sort of be the guy and step up. And so I think that's good that that's sort of out of the way. It's like, okay, everybody knows they can make some plays with Dylan this year. Now let's take the next step. And, this is why Dane Key came here for games like this. And then Isaiah Hunter the same way. Isaiah was a little more quiet last week. It was kind of Dane and others week, the backups week. But I think Isaiah Hunter is a big wild card in this game and has already shown in the opener at Arrowhead that he could win some 50-50 balls that can tilt the thing. And let's see if he can do it again.
So, BC, how important at the end of the day, if you had to rank them, and we heard if you had to rank them, where does special teams fall for you? Is it third? Is it second? Should it be paramount? If you're talking about impacting the game in its entirety, where does special teams rank for you?
Well, see, like I don't really want to rank them because I would say like third if I had to rank offense, defense, special teams, but I don't look at it that. I think they all gotta be there. It's got to be like Thanksgiving where you get a piece of every pie from your aunts. All 3 on the plate. Like I want all 3 of them. And I was talking to the Michigan writer for our site the other day, or asked him about their special teams. They're a little nervous. They don't know what they have exactly there with some of the kicking game and some of what's going there. I think in the return game too, it's been some anxious moments. And so this is a great opportunity on this stage for specials that to be the group has a plus their name and this way more confident. Maybe I Wilson, despite we've only seen 3 times. I don't know if it feels like he was meant to do, like it seems so obvious. And in his debut, he has 2 punts inside the 10, and one of them was huge, obviously, with a few minutes left in that game. So I feel good about that. I just want to see the details sharp. Don't kick the ball out of bounds this week. I want to see that kick return coverage dialed in. I have a different philosophy on sort of the kick return thing. I think they're going to be aggressive. I kind of still am a wave your hand and take it at the 25 guy. I just hope there's not that moment because this could be a 3 or 4 point game where you get a little bold with the return, you take a penalty or something, and you start a drive at your own 8-yard line, and it kind of makes the field position game difficult. So it's stuff like that I'm kind of looking for. And then I do think there's going to be a moment where Archie has a chance to pin them deep. And if they can execute that, can Nebraska's defense play off of it and have that sequence where you back that up with the 3 and out and you turn it into points? And so there's going to be some moment in this game over about a 5-minute span where those series of events are going to happen for one team or another. And I really think that could decide who wins it. And if Nebraska can be that team where you pin them deep, you play the field position game right in the right moment, you get the stop, that very well could be what gives you the edge.
BC, like in my full disclosure, I grew up up until I was about 10. I'm a huge Michigan fan, right? I mean, Caleb's middle name is Braylon, and it's named after Braylon Edwards. And I was colorblind, so I thought, maize and blue was really black and gold. I was always looking for somebody that looked like the Steelers. Like, I'm just a weird, dumb kid, right? But there's this part of me that's watched them evolve from the Kohlers and the Schembechlers and some of these players. Woodson's one of my favorite players of all time of any sport. I watch them defensively now. I was on Brown a lot, Don Brown. I'm like, hey, the high pressure, high risk, high reward, it's not going to work. And, Wink is going to be a guy that brings pressure. I watch how they play downhill. They play fast. They're super active. When you look at how Nebraska wants to play, do you look at that as a strength or a weakness, kind of, in terms of how do you think Nebraska wants to move the ball versus how Michigan likes to kind of play downhill and dictate tempo on defense?
I don't know for sure, but I think it can be a strength for Nebraska. And I kind of connected to Ravi's question earlier, where I think it's going to open up the door for some explosive possibilities. And it's just a matter of, can you get the payoff when it's there? Like there's always it's those 2 or 3 plays that pop up during the course of a game where, okay, they overreached a little bit, sort of like the fight, Saturday night, where there's an opening for a guy, it's someone overreaches and you can take advantage of it big time. And I am feeling more optimistic this year about Dylan's growth and the receivers that they can cash in there. But, we'll see in those moments. So my short answer is yes, though. I think it can be a strength for Nebraska because of a quarterback and I think his understanding of the game is at a far different level than it was a season ago. And I'm not underplaying. Bryce Underwood could go out there and be dynamite. I mean, it's very possible. He's got a lot of talent. He's going to be a good quarterback.
There's a reason he's number 1 ranked quarterback in the country.
Could be a great quarterback. But he's a young quarter. He's in that first year, and everybody nationally kind of decided they had their understanding of Dylan based off his true freshman year. And I just think there's an opportunity Saturday for him in this offense to show. Actually, you wrote those stories a little prematurely. Like, there's been some growth here, and the guy on the other side is actually going through what Dylan did. So, I don't know. I think that can be an advantage for Nebraska. They've got to make it so, but I kind of feel I would guess that it's going to be an advantage for Nebraska, and now it's got to play out that way.
Let me ask you something, B. So, you just following fairly close, right? And I was talking to some former Michigan guys, Brandon Williams, some of these guys from Omaha. They describe Underwood as, kind of this Vince Young type, big, strong, can run, obviously the great pocket presence, the arm. But they're waiting for his receivers to kind of develop. And when I'm having these conversations this week, I'm like, gosh, there's some eerie similarities to Dylan year 1 with what's around him and how they can accentuate his strengths as a first-year quarterback. Can Nebraska win do you foresee a situation in whomever wins this game that it doesn't boil down to the quarterback that played the best?
Yeah, definitely could see that. And it could be the trenches, but it could just as much be the perimeter guys. It could be your wide receivers. A game like this that is a 2-point spread, a lot of people think is going to come down to a play or two. Well, who's got the better playmakers that goes and gets that one ball that's a DB from Michigan thinks he's got a beat on it. No, Isaiah Hunter takes it away, or Dane Key takes it away. Or Michigan's wide receivers, obviously, if they haven't had the greatest jump from the blocks, they're going to want to prove they're those guys. That's where I'm optimistic for Nebraska, because I do think they've upgraded at receiver, and I also think their DBs are walking tall in a good way. Like, I just think there's a nice swagger to that group right now, and if they can match up Michigan's wideouts one-on-one, and you got Andrew Marshall and Sierre and Donnie Jones and those guys, and I think Deshaun Singleton's gonna have a big say in this game in a lot of different ways. Like, he's gonna be, we've heard all offseason how he's a versatile piece. I think he's gonna get moved around, and you're gonna see a lot of different things from him. But if this secondary, I'll go back to that point, if they are the strength, one of the top strengths of this team, and they really flex in this game, maybe that's the headline. That could be the storyline about why Nebraska wins if they win the game, because it's going to make it a lot more difficult on a freshman quarterback if his guys are getting locked down.
BC, last thing from me here. As we kind of heard John Butler talk yesterday, and as I've been watching the Michigan games and going through their analytics and stuff like that, I feel like there might be some opportunities to take advantage of their offensive line. Is that something that you think, A, is true, and B, do you think that we're assuming the Michigan offensive line is maybe better than it is just because of their recent history?
I don't know. It may be a wash, because Nebraska fans aren't in love with their own defensive line, and Michigan fans aren't in love with their own offensive line. So, I mean, maybe that's the game within the game.
Yeah, could be. I mean, you could put it that way. It's the prove it game for both those both sides on the trenches there. Michigan's O-line and Nebraska's D-line. And I again use the word just curiosity more so with Nebraska's D-line. It's not to me like a down in the dumps thought about where they are or what they can be. I think on paper, Nebraska's got a great setup to be really, really good in that group in 26. And now they have a chance to show, actually, we're on the fast track. Like, we're already kind of that group in 25. But it's a game like this where you try to stamp that and change people's minds on it a little bit from the offseason and all the whatever anxiousness that's been about it. But perhaps Michigan's O-line feels the same way, and if at the end of the day, Nebraska's D-line can neutralize them, it gives the opportunity on the other side of the fence for Nebraska's O-line, which is so veteran and has these guys who have built for years for this season, to take a game like this and put it on their shoulders a little bit too. So, I mean, that's why this game's so beautiful, because we've went through all these different angles and alleys you can go down about what's going to settle it. And, it'll probably come down to like one or two plays when it's all said and done, in a big moment where somebody steps up and just says that we're going to do it. We're going to have that moment. And, like Malcolm did in week 1. So we'll see if Nebraska can do it again.
That's our guy, Brian Christopherson, Husker247. BC, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, B.